You know that exact moment when you're out at a diner and you decide to make, like, the responsible choice. So you order a side salad.
Oh, yeah. I know exactly where this is going.
Right. And the waiter sets down this shallow, slightly sticky wooden bowl.
Always the wooden bowl.
Always. And inside, it's just these pale, sort of translucent chunks of iceberg lettuce. Maybe like one oddly mealy cherry tomato cut in half.
Yeah, and just an absolute ocean of watered-down ranch dressing pooling at the bottom.
Exactly. It's just cold and it's crunchy, but in this weirdly hollow way, eating it leaves you feeling entirely unsatisfied.
I mean, it's basically the culinary equivalent of an apology. It just sits there, looking vaguely sad and damp.
It really does. And yet, for decades, that sad little bowl has been the poster child for what we call eating healthy. So, okay, let's unpack this.
Let's do it.
Because today, our mission in this deep dive is to completely revolutionize how you view and prepare a salad. We are officially rescuing you from the dreaded wilted iceberg experience.
Which is desperately needed, honestly.
Totally. We've been looking through some really fascinating notes and research focused on fresh vegetable salads for clean eating. And we aren't just talking about a side dish you have to endure before your real food arrives. We are exploring a proven structural method for deeply nourishing, vibrant energy.
Which is a crucial pivot for anyone listening right now. We really need to set a new baseline right from the start.
Right, because we kind of need to unlearn what a salad even is.
Exactly, because the framework we are looking at today directly challenges that lingering rabbit food stigma. It takes the very idea of a salad and completely reframes it.
So no more punishment salads.
No more punishment salads. Instead of treating it as a restrictive chore for wanting to eat well, it positions a properly constructed, clean-eating salad as this masterpiece of textures, flavors, and nutritional density.
But let's be honest, a lot of people harbor this deep, private hatred for salads. We have this negative stereotype so ingrained in us.
Oh, absolutely.
Like we think of diets, we think of deprivation. We picture ourselves, chewing on wet leaves for 20 minutes while staring longingly at someone else's fries.
And there is a very real, deeply ingrained biological and neurological reason for that reaction.
Wait, really? It's neurological?
Yeah, it is. Traditional salads, like that diner bowl you mentioned earlier, they fail us because they completely ignore the psychology of satisfaction.
The psychology of satisfaction?
Yeah.
Okay, what does that mean in the context of lettuce?
Well, this research introduces this brilliant concept of the salad as a blank canvas. But it's a canvas that requires very specific sensory inputs to actually work.
Okay.
The core secret here is layering.
Layering. Okay, you're going to have to break that down for me. Because when I hear layering, I just think of, like, the salad bar approach.
A pile-it-on method.
Right, just piling more and more random stuff into the bowl until it overflows and becomes this 1,000-calorie mountain of chaos.
Yeah, it's significantly more strategic than that. It's about layering specific sensory experiences to trigger a neurological response.
Huh. Okay, so not just throwing on extra cheese and croutons.
Exactly. To create a satisfying meal, you need a precise mix of textures. You need something crunchy, something creamy, something fresh, and something savory.
All at once.
Yes, all at once. When you hit all of those notes simultaneously in a single bite, your brain actually registers the meal as truly satisfying. It signals satiation.
Wait, hold on. If I eat a giant bowl of iceberg lettuce, my stomach is physically full. It stretches, right?
Right, physically stretches.
So why does my brain care if the textures are boring? I mean, full is full, isn't it?
Well, not to your brain. Physical fullness and neurological satiation are actually two completely different mechanisms.
Oh, really?
Yeah. If you just eat a massive bowl of crisp lettuce, your stomach might stretch. But your brain analyzes the incoming data and essentially says, okay, that was a lot of water and a lot of fiber, but where is the dense energy?
It's like it's looking for the good stuff.
Exactly. It's asking, where is the varied sensory input that tells me I've secured a substantial life-sustaining meal? Evolutionarily speaking, our brains are literally wired to seek out varied, dense nutrients.
So a bowl of watery leaves just doesn't cut it.
Right. It registers as technically healthy, sure, but it doesn't trigger the complex neurological reward systems like the release of dopamine and serotonin.
Happy chemicals.
Exactly. Those are the chemicals that tell you, I have eaten a rich, complete meal and I can stop looking for food now.
Oh, wow. That is fascinating. It's almost like eating a plain lettuce and watery dressing salad is like watching an action movie on mute in black and white.
Oh, that's a perfect way to put it.
You know what I mean? Like, you get the basic idea. There are explosions, cars are flipping over, the hero is running, but it's completely unsatisfying because you're missing the roaring audio, the vivid colors, the pulsing soundtrack.
Yes.
You're getting the biological plot of the meal, but you're missing the sensory soundtrack that makes it an actual experience.
Yeah. I really, really like that analogy. You're getting the raw data, but missing the engagement. And without that sensory soundtrack, your brain just keeps hunting for it.
Which explains so much, honestly.
Right. That's why you can eat a giant bowl of plain greens and 30 minutes later, you find yourself rummaging through the pantry for a bag of chips.
Yes, the phantom hunger.
Exactly. Your brain is still looking for the crunch, the salt, and the fat it was denied.
So if our brain absolutely requires these specific sensory inputs, the color, the sound, the crunch, the fat, to feel satisfied, how exactly do we build that layer by layer?
Without it taking all day, you mean?
Right, without it becoming some overly complicated chef's project. Because, I mean, nobody wants to spend an hour making a salad for a quick Tuesday lunch.
Exactly. And that brings us to the practical architecture of building this. It starts from the ground up with a concept we can call the law of contrast.
The law of contrast. I like how that sounds.
It's basically about building a foundation that deliberately plays different textures and flavors against each other.
Let's talk about that foundation then, because the first step in this framework is a major upgrade to the base. We are officially ditching the plain iceberg and the pale romaine.
Throwing them out.
We want to move toward dark, nutrient-dense greens. We're talking baby spinach, arugula, baby kale, radicchio.
The heavy hitters.
Right. But let me stop you right there and play devil's advocate for a second.
Go for it.
If someone hates the watery nothingness of iceberg, handing them a bowl of aggressively bitter radicchio or super peppery arugula feels like a massive overcorrection.
It does sound a bit extreme on its own.
Right. Aren't they
Yeah.
just going to hate that even more?
Well, if they ate it entirely plain, yes, absolutely. But this is where flavor architecture comes in. You aren't eating it plain.
Okay, good.
You are using it as a structural base.
Yeah.
We use those dark greens because of their chemical composition. Arugula gives you a peppery bite. Radicchio offers a robust bitterness. Baby kale brings a sturdy, earthy quality.
So they have actual personality.
Exactly. And you actually need those strong, slightly bitter profiles to stand up to the heavy fats and sweet elements we are going to add later.
Oh, I see.
Yeah, a watery lettuce would just get crushed by those ingredients and turn into mush.
So the strong flavor is actually a structural requirement.
Precisely. And from a purely physiological standpoint, you want these darker greens because they contain significantly more vitamins, minerals, and specifically phytonutrients.
Phytonutrients. We hear that buzzword literally all the time.
Yeah.
But what is that actually doing for me when I'm just trying to get through a busy workday?
Think of phytonutrients as the plant's natural immune system.
Okay.
They are the compounds that protect the plant from UV radiation, insects, and disease. When you consume those dark, moody greens, you are ingesting those defensive compounds.
So I'm basically eating the plant's armor.
Essentially, yes. In the human body, they act as powerful antioxidants. They neutralize free radicals, which are basically unstable molecules that cause cellular damage and inflammation. So by simply swapping pale lettuce for dark greens, you are instantly flooding your cells with compounds that reduce inflammation and drastically improve your baseline cellular energy.
Okay, so we have our dark, nutrient-dense, slightly bitter greens as the defensive base, but then we get into this crucial interplay between two specific layers.
The crunch and the cream.
Yes. For the crunch, the framework suggests cucumber slices, shaved raw carrots, radishes, and then toasted walnuts or pumpkin seeds.
Perfect.
And for the cream, it strictly points to healthy fats. So ripe avocado, a sprinkle of hemp seeds, or Kalamata olives. But here's where it gets really interesting to me.
What stands out to you?
Well, you have things like pumpkin seeds and walnuts sitting in the crunch category, but then hemp seeds and olives are acting as the cream.
Right.
What is the underlying mechanic here? Is the healthy fat what gives the salad its actual weight?
Yes, the fat is the anchor. Healthy fats are incredibly dense in energy, and importantly, they physically coat the palate.
Oh, they coat the tongue.
Exactly. Think about how a slice of ripe avocado actually feels in your mouth. It's rich, it's buttery, it leaves a very satisfying film on the tongue.
That is very true.
Hemp seeds do the exact same thing on a microscale because they are packed with oils. And olives bring a creamy, briny fat.
Okay, so they provide the richness.
Yes. And this fat coats your bitter receptors, which directly answers your earlier question about the arugula and radicchio.
Wait, really? The fat blocks the bitterness?
Yes, the avocado literally mellows out the bitterness of the greens on a chemical level in your mouth.
That makes so much sense.
Right.
The fat puts a filter over the bitterness.
Exactly.
But what happens if you overdo the fat? Like if I just eat avocado and soft greens, it sounds like it would get really heavy really fast.
It definitely would. It would turn into a monotonous bowl of mush. And remember, the brain gets bored easily.
Mm.
It experiences what we call palate fatigue. If every bite is just soft and creamy, your brain stops paying attention and it actually stops sending satiation signals.
Hence the need for the crunch.
Exactly. The crunch is absolutely non-negotiable.
You have to have it.
You do. The sharp, watery snap of a peppery radish, or the sweet density of a shaved carrot, or a toasted walnut.
Oh, a toasted walnut is so good.
And by the way, when you toast a walnut, you break down its cell walls and release its essential oil, so it actually bridges the gap between crunch and fat.
Double duty. I love that.
Yeah, that sharp crunch working against the creamy richness of the avocado provides the exact sensory contrast the brain craves.
And so it's like a mechanical action. The crunch is almost acting like a reset button.
That's a great way to put it. The crunch physically cleanses the palate, scraping away the heavy fat, preparing your tongue to experience the rich creaminess all over again in the next bite.
Oh, wow.
It creates a continuous loop of sensory engagement. Your brain stays hyper-focused on the meal, tracking the contrasting textures, which ultimately makes you feel deeply engaged and satisfied.
It's like a textural seesaw in your mouth. You absolutely need both sides pushing against each other to make the ride work.
That is exactly what it is.
Okay, so we have the structural texture locked in. We've got our nutrient-dense, antioxidant-rich leafy base. We've got the palate-cleansing crunch of radishes and seeds. And we have the rich, tongue-coating creaminess of avocados and olives binding to the bitter receptors. We have a solid building. But to elevate this from a random pile of healthy vegetables into a cohesive, intentional meal, we need to talk about flavor.
Yes.
We need the electricity that lights the building up.
We really do, because structural integrity is great, but nobody wants to live in an unfinished house.
Right.
In our salad, that means introducing unexpected elements that completely wake up the palate and prevent that fatigue we were just talking about.
The framework calls these flavor bursts. And I found this concept incredibly liberating because it moves the idea of a salad firmly out of the savory-only category.
It opens it way up.
We are talking about incorporating fresh, soft herbs like cilantro, parsley, basil, which instantly makes a dish taste like a high-end restaurant prepared it. But then, it suggests adding sharp sweetness from fresh fruit, thin apple slices, fresh berries, or bright citrus segments. Why are those small additions so critical to the overall experience?
Those flavor bursts are doing highly specialized, almost sneaky work on your biology.
Sneaky how?
Well, let's start with the fresh herbs. They contain volatile aromatic compounds.
Volatile meaning they evaporate quickly.
Exactly. They vaporize into the air at room temperature. So before the fork even reaches your mouth, those aromatic compounds travel up into your nasal cavity and hit your olfactory receptors.
So it's all about the smell.
Smell is deeply tied to digestion. The moment you smell the bright, sharp scent of fresh basil or cilantro, your brain sends a signal to your salivary glands.
No way.
Yes, you literally start salivating and your stomach begins secreting digestive enzymes before you've even taken a bite. The herbs are priming your entire digestive system to efficiently break down the nutrients.
So the salad is actively preparing your body to eat it. That is wild.
It's amazing biology.
And what about the fruit? Like, why throw an apple slice into a bowl of spinach and olives?
The fruit brings a highly targeted hit of natural fructose and crisp acidity. Think about the profile we've built. You have the earthy bitterness of radicchio, the heavy, buttery richness of avocado and olive oil, and the dense crunch of a walnut.
Right. All very heavy flavors.
Exactly. All of those are heavy, grounding flavors. The sudden, bright, sweet, acidic snap of an apple slice cuts through all of that weight like a laser.
Oh, I see.
It provides a micro moment of contrast that completely shocks the palate away.
It resets the whole board. Which makes sense because palate fatigue is so real. When I used to eat massive bowls of just lettuce and cucumber, by bite 10, my mouth was literally bored to tears. It felt like a chore.
It feels like work.
It does. But speaking of things that ruin a salad, we have to address the massive elephant in the room.
Oh boy, I know what this is.
The absolute biggest pitfall of clean eating, The trap that completely destroys all of this beautiful architectural work we just did with the greens, the textures, and the herbs. I'm talking about store-bought dressings.
This cannot be overstated.
Hmm.
Relying on commercial bottled dressing is the single most common failure point for anyone trying to adopt a clean eating lifestyle for better energy.
The research does not hold back here either. It points out that most store-bought dressings, even the ones masquerading as healthy or organic, are usually loaded with highly processed soybean or canola oils,
Yep.
plus excess refined sugar and artificial chemical stabilizers. Honestly, looking into the actual ingredient list on those bottles, I was pretty shocked.
It's alarming.
Pouring a heavy, processed artificial dressing over a bowl of beautiful, organic, nutrient-dense vegetables feels like, well, it's like putting cheap, bald retread tires on a high-performance sports car.
Ooh, yes, that's exactly it.
You know, you've invested all this money and effort into the engine, the sleek body, the aerodynamic design, and then you completely ruin the handling and the entire investment right at the exact point where the rubber meets the road.
That is exactly what is happening, but on a cellular level, it completely defeats the biological purpose of the meal.
How so?
Let's look at the chemistry of those processed seed oils. They are often highly refined and oxidized, which means when they enter your body, they actively promote systemic inflammation.
Which is the exact opposite of what the phytonutrients in the dark greens are trying to do.
Precisely. You are eating a salad to flood your cells with antioxidants to reduce inflammation and increase your baseline energy.
Right.
But if you coat those greens in oxidized seed oils and hidden refined sugars, which, by the way, spike your insulin and cause an energy crash, you are introducing a liquid that actively fights against the vegetables.
So they're just battling it out in my stomach.
Pretty much, the dressing is draining your energy while the salad is trying to build it.
So what is the realistic alternative? Because nobody wants to eat dry leaves, and I am definitely not setting up a chemistry lab in my kitchen to make a dressing from scratch every single day.
You don't have to. The framework gives a 2-minute DIY fix that is almost suspiciously simple.
Right. The ingredient list is barely a list at all. It's high-quality extra virgin olive oil, an acid-like fresh squeezed lemon or lime juice or apple cider vinegar, a spoonful of Dijon mustard, a pinch of sea salt, and cracked black pepper.
That's the whole base.
And you can tweak it with fresh garlic, chopped herbs, or a tiny touch of raw honey if you want. But really, oil, lemon, mustard, that's it.
That's it.
I'm sorry, but I'm a little skeptical. How does that not just separate into a greasy, sour mess?
It doesn't separate because of some very specific, very elegant culinary chemistry.
Okay, lay some chemistry on me.
The star player in that lineup, the thing that makes it work, isn't actually the expensive olive oil or the fresh lemon. It's the Dijon mustard.
The mustard, that's the secret weapon.
Yes. The olive oil is your base, but the mustard is the mechanism. It comes down to a process called emulsification.
Emulsification.
By their very nature, oil and water, or in this case, oil and the water-based lemon juice, absolutely hate each other.
Right, they repel.
They repel one another on a molecular level. If you just vigorously shake oil and vinegar together, they will separate the second you stop shaking. The oil floats to the top, the acid sinks to the bottom.
Oh, I have definitely made that mistake. You end up pouring it on your salad, and the top leaves are just coated in this slick, heavy grease. And then you get to the bottom of the bowl, and it's a puddle of pure sour vinegar that makes your eyes water.
Exactly. It's a terrible eating experience.
Yeah.
But Dijon mustard contains natural compounds that act as emulsifiers.
What does an emulsifier actually do?
Think of an emulsifier as a molecule with two different hands. One hand loves water, and the other hand loves oil.
Okay, I'm picturing it.
When you put the olive oil, the lemon juice, and a dollop of mustard into a jar and shake it, or whisk it vigorously in a bowl, the mustard molecules act like a chemical bridge.
Oh, wow.
They literally grab the microscopic droplets of oil with one hand and the droplets of lemon juice with the other and bind them together into a creamy, unified, stable suspension.
So the mustard forces them to play nice.
It forces them to bind.
Yeah.
That is an emulsion. It proves that you absolutely do not need xanthan gum, polysorbate, or artificial laboratory stabilizers to get a thick, vibrant, creamy dressing that perfectly coats a leaf of lettuce.
That's incredible.
You just need a teaspoon of mustard, some mechanical force like shaking or whisking, and 2 minutes of your time.
That is just brilliant. It's practical science right in a salad bowl.
Mm-hmm.
The mustard is the peacemaker. And when it's properly emulsified, it clings to the greens perfectly instead of sliding off and pooling at the bottom.
Exactly.
Okay, so let's zoom out for a second. We had the exact anatomy of the perfect dressing. We understand the biology and architecture of the dark leafy base, the palate-cleansing crunch, the bitter-blocking cream, and the salivary-triggering flavor bursts.
The whole package.
The theory is rock solid,
Hmm.
but let's bring this into the messy reality of everyday living.
Yeah, that's where it counts.
How do you integrate this high-level architecture into a chaotic life so that it actually remains a source of vibrant energy rather than becoming just another stressful, rigid chore you have to manage?
Well, the notes we're pulling from are very emphatic about this specific point. The key to long-term success with any clean eating habit is abandoning rigidity.
So ditching the rules.
Mostly, yes. If you want this to work, you have to stop treating salads like baking, where you need exact measurements and strict rules. You shouldn't feel bound by a specific recipe.
Right.
Instead, you need to rely on what is already sitting in your fridge or what happens to be in season at the local market.
So what does this all mean for you, the listener, in a practical sense? I want you to picture this exact scenario.
Okay, set the scene.
It's a Tuesday night.
Yep.
You just walked in the door from a long day at work. You're mentally exhausted, and you're staring into a fridge that looks, well, a little bleak.
We've all been there.
Right. You've got half a bag of baby spinach, a random slightly soft cucumber, maybe a lemon rolling around in the crisper drawer, and a jar of Kalamata olives you completely forgot about.
Sounds like a standard Tuesday fridge.
Totally.
Yeah.
And the old diet mindset looks at that and says, well, I don't have all the right ingredients for a proper recipe. I guess I'll just order a pizza.
Yep. Defeat.
How do we shift that mental roadblock from, I don't have a recipe, to, I have a canvas?
You do it by zooming out and looking at the structural framework we just built rather than a specific ingredient list.
Okay.
You look at that half-empty fridge and you stop looking for a recipe. You look for the categories.
The category.
Yes. You see the half bag of spinach. Okay, check. That's your dark green phytonutrient base. You see the cucumber. There is your palate cleansing crunch.
I see where this is going.
You see the olives. There is your creamy, bitter blocking, healthy fat. You see the lemon. There is the acid for your 2-minute emulsified dressing.
And maybe you realize you have some slivered almonds sitting in the pantry for extra crunch, or a slightly bruised apple on the counter that you can slice paper thin for a flavor burst.
Exactly. You are categorizing, not cooking. By treating the salad as a fluid ritual of assembly rather than a rigid chore of following instructions, you completely liberate yourself from decision fatigue.
Because you aren't overthinking it.
Right. You remove the stress of perfectionism. And most importantly, you guarantee yourself a meal that revitalizes your energy levels because you are consistently choosing real, whole, anti-inflammatory foods over heavily processed, energy-draining alternatives.
Regardless of what specific ingredients happen to be on hand.
Exactly.
I just love that shift in perspective. It takes all the pressure off. You aren't stressing over a recipe. You are just curating.
Curating, I like that word.
You are assembling textures and flavors based on a proven biological blueprint. It really does change everything about how you approach a meal.
It's a game changer.
Well, we've covered a massive amount of ground today, diving into the actual science of why we eat the way we do, and I want to make sure we lock in the most important takeaways from this deep dive.
Let's recap.
If you want to rescue your meals from the dreaded iceberg zone, remember these core steps. First, build your defensive foundation with nutrient-dense, antioxidant-rich dark greens arugula, spinach, kale.
Second, master the law of contrast by balancing the sharp, palate-cleansing snap of a crunch with the rich, tongue-coating creaminess of healthy fats like avocado or olives.
Third, don't forget your flavor bursts. Use fresh fruit and aromatic herbs to wake up your olfactory receptors and prime your digestion.
And finally, absolutely unequivocally, ditch the bottled dressing for a 2-minute mustard emulsified DIY version.
Keep the cheap tires off the sports car.
Exactly. Those are the absolute pillars of the framework. But, you know, this entire discussion raises a really important question, something for everyone to mull over after we wrap up today.
What's that?
Well, we've just spent all this time dissecting how to make healthy rabbit food deeply satisfying by essentially hacking the brain's reward system with layered textures and contrasting flavor.
Right. We are tricking the brain into actually craving the healthy choice by giving it the sensory inputs it evolved to seek out.
Exactly. So consider this. How might this exact same layering principle, the intentional crunch, the healthy cream, the acidic flavor burst, be applied to other healthy foods we often find incredibly boring?
Oh, that is interesting.
Think about a plain, dreary bowl of morning oatmeal,
Yeah.
or a dry, lean chicken breast, or even a plate of steamed broccoli.
The usual suspects of a boring diet.
Right. Could mastering this salad architecture actually be the ultimate blueprint for hacking your entire diet? By understanding how to satisfy your brain's evolutionary demand for sensory variety, you might just hold the skeleton key to achieving vibrant energy across every single meal you eat.
Wow. Mastering the salad isn't just about making a better lunch. It's literally the blueprint for hacking the psychology of eating altogether.
Pretty much.
That is a brilliant thought to leave on. Remember that next time you're staring down a boring bowl of oats, ask yourself, where's the crunch? Where's the cream? Where's the flavor burst?
It changes everything.
It really does. Well, thank you so much for joining us on this deep dive today. We hope you take this framework, open up your fridge tonight, and start painting your own culinary canvas.
Enjoy your salads, everyone.
Until next time, keep things fresh, keep things vibrant in your own kitchen, and hey, maybe spare a passing thought for that sad diner salad. Maybe still order it, but bring your own toasted walnuts, a lemon, and a jar of mustard. See you next time.